typical business case in intelligent document processing really includes all of the fundamental items that you would think of in any business case for a process transformation. Establishing the as-is run cost, and that cost needs to include things like the cost of rework, the cost of error, perhaps the impact to a slow or irritating customer experience. Some of these things in a business case may not be quantifiable in terms of what CFOs would call green dollar savings, but they can have very material impact. On the investment side, it's really the services necessary to establish or implement the technologies, and of course the technology licensing. Today, these things are available from the cloud, rapidly deployable, and ready to fit different document classes out of the box. So the time to value in intelligent document processing is generally very, very quick. As well, the business case, even with the very difficult to characterize benefits, is usually sufficient on the green dollar contributions or benefits that come from IDP. When you think about automation, the ticket to ride, the table stakes forever have been really efficiency gains or efficiency benefits. And those are measured typically in green dollars. They're very easy to measure, and that's where people tend to go first because they are easier to measure. So these are things like less minutes per transaction, less percentage of rework, less number of errors that result in less amount of cost coming from this area. But on the far more impactful side of things are effectiveness benefits, which is where you actually get a better business outcome because of IDP or because of intelligent automation. So by far, if I use the quick example of purchasing in an organization, where with task automation, you might be able to use 30% less effort in performing the purchasing function. But with automation, you might be able to reduce price leakage by as much as 1 to 3% of total spend in your enterprise by increasing purchase order compliance and contract compliance on payments and invoices. In this case, the benefits are far more significant on the effectiveness side. When considering IDP, really taking a look at what are the efficiency benefits and what are the effectiveness benefits usually reveals the powerful attractiveness of IDP. I'll use the simple example of purchasing in a large organization. Let's say that a purchasing organization is 100 people and they manage $10 billion in spend. The efficiency gains might say that we can move 30 of those people into supply chain analytics and other higher order value things, relationship management, vendor relationship management. So freeing up people to go do more value added things is fantastic. But with using automation, intelligent automation, your ability to ensure purchase order compliance and contract compliance on the payments side of things might result in as much as 1.5 to 3 points of reduced price leakage, which could be worth tens of millions of dollars to a large organization. So when we look at efficiency, absolutely, we want those gains. We want to improve people's world, but really it is the effectiveness gains that make just a huge difference with intelligent automation and IDP. The largest gains for IDP are not surprisingly closest to the dollars. And what does that mean? Well, every business has customers. So the closer your IDP is, the closer your automation is to the customer, the more impactful that's going to be. Likewise, the other side of business is on the supplier side. So the other place where IDP and intelligent automation have enormous benefits is close to where money is leaving the business. In both cases, there's an opportunity to maximize the sales outstanding, the customer experience, the ability to get your money on time. And similarly, on the payable side of things, the ability to ensure that the right payment is going out at the right time maximizing your use of working capital, and really ensuring the most effective payments possible based on your contracted relationship with your vendors. Those are the two most valuable areas for businesses with IDP. A lot has changed with respect to how quickly we can get to value with IDP recently. OCR was a very difficult to implement technology, and in the last 2 to 5 years, technologies have evolved very significantly, where cloud-based services, not only for intelligent document processing, but also for consumption of incredibly sophisticated OCR engines, including things like handwriting and image recognition. These things can now be purchased and integrated into a single platform, which is deployable in days. And the ability to go into a process and make a substantial transformation in 60 days is not unusual. So these days are different than they were in the past in terms of the time to value and what the timeline looks like for a typical IDP implementation. So how do I get started, you might ask? Well, it's really not that hard. One is obviously to know what the problem is. What problems are you trying to solve? And it probably wouldn't take you very long to think of what we call high friction workloads. What are the most common customer complaints? What are the most common supplier complaints? It is around these two sets of complaints where, remember, we talked about this is where the money comes in and this is where the money goes out. This is where the value is. So really getting started when you get close to the customer and when you get close to the supplier. What are those high friction workloads? Inevitably, there are documents in those processes, and there are people that are laboring heavily over managing customers' needs when filled with documents and suppliers' needs when filled with documents. And managing both of those relationships effectively can be fundamentally transformed with intelligent document processing.